Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cindy. So I wanted to give some tips for interviews and how to know if they're gonna hire you. So I have not had like a bunch of experience with interviews, but I've had a few. When I was a CNA, my interview was like, okay, you're hired. When I was an LVN, they just pretty much asked like, do you want to be full-time or part-time or PRN? My third LVN job, I had a interview and she actually said, I don't think you're ready for this kind of facility because it's a busy one, so I'm gonna let you have some more time at your other facility to gain some experience and then I'll call you. She ended up calling me like 2 months later and she said if I wanted to go work for them, and I actually accepted the job. In her interview she just asked like my past experiences, where have I worked, but it was nothing like a hospital setting kind of interview, and that's more of like what I'm focusing now because I've had 3 of those, a good, a bad, a good. So let's talk about the good and how can you know if that person's gonna hire you. So I've had my first interview in the postpartum unit and it was with the director, and then later on I had like a group interview or a panel interview with different workers that had been there, and they're the ones that kind of said yes or no for your job. Honestly, if the director likes you but they don't, then it's gonna be a no-go. So the director, how it works in hospital settings, they kind of like, they have a printout of questions they have to ask you so they don't forget to ask you anything, or they don't kind of are lead by their own ways. So there's like a set of questions, and my interview that time was about 30 or 45 minutes. I remember she was very sweet. She was very nice. She was a nice lady. It was just me and her, and I could notice that the atmosphere at that office was very calm, and she wasn't judgy or anything like that. She asked about time management, if you ever had a mistake as a nurse, what did you do to prevent it, what are your past experiences, what did you like about the other job, why are you leaving the other job, if you have any difficult episodes with like other co-workers, how you handle them. So those are some examples of the questions, and everything came naturally. Nothing, I didn't feel like she was attacking me or anything. It was just like regular questions. I was giving her the answers and she will move on. So here comes my second interview. Later on, it was about a year and a few months later, I had this interview and I wanted to work for this hospital. I actually had I had like 2 people working there, so they put a word for me and everything. So I felt like I was going in the right direction in this situation. It was a director and 2 managers, or a charge nurse and a manager. No, I'm lying. It was 2 managers from 2 different units that I'll be working with, and the charge nurse for that unit. It was horrible. It was the most horrible, I even feel it was kind of like humiliating experience. As soon as I got there, I felt that, the charge nurse, me and her just didn't click. I don't know if you have ever felt that with someone, that it just doesn't seem like it clicked, and everything went wrong. I even cried at that interview.
Like, who cries at an interview?
Like, that's how bad it was. And it was like, I was like, why am I hormonal? Like, why am I crying? Like, what is wrong? What is wrong? I don't even know if that was like the main reason why I didn't get hired, but let me explain. As soon as I sat there, I introduced myself. I told them about like my past job experiences or whatnot. But I felt attacked. Like, every time they asked me a question and I would answer, they will like go around it some way and like figure out how to like keep digging more and more on a simple question, and they will make like this ugly comments of everything I will like say. So, quick example, she asked if I ever had a a problem with another coworker? And I said, yes. And I explained to them what was the problem. I'm not going to go in too much detail because if not, this video is going to be super long. But just make it quick and short. I told her, you know, she's very like specific. She likes everything on the board. If something's missing, she'll make a, you know, she will make a big deal about it, but in front of the patient. And that's the main thing I'm not, I don't really like, because it shouldn't be in front of the patient. And then she was like, well, those things are important, so you should just put them there, because if you don't put them there, that means you're the one that is not making the right choices. And I was like, okay. And I was like, yes, I understand. And that's why I've tried to, you know, learn her ways, learn what she likes, and then meet her expectations on shift change. So that was, you know, my answer back to that. Another one of the questions was, how will you deal with stress in the working area? And here I explained, you know, I never act stress in front of my patients. I never tell them I'm stressed, we're short staffed, anything like that. I act as professional as I can, give them the best care possible. If I'm having like a meltdown, I'll go to the restroom, wash my face, do some breathing exercises, and just calm down. And she said, okay, so you don't tell them anything? And I was like, no. So what if a coworker is not helping you? If she's not helping me, I ask for the help again. If she's not willing to help me, I'll look for someone else to do it. And she said, oh, so you're something like a floor mat. Excuse me? She literally offended me, telling me I was a floor mat because I didn't like confrontation. And I was like, isn't that what you're supposed to do? So from the get-go, it was horrible. So here comes them and telling me, tell me about a situation where you got really attached to a patient, or something like that. We had a patient at work that I really got attached to because she was going through so much. When I told them like the story, like a tear just came out of my face, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
What the fuck are you doing?
Honestly, like, why am I crying? You know, this is like gonna be the worst thing ever. They're gonna feel like I can't control my emotions. It was horrible. There was no napkins, so I kind of just went like that, and I was like, I'm so sorry. It's really close to my heart. Like, she was a very special patient. And then they said, oh, maybe she was special because she has kids and you have kids. So, like, no, bitch, that was not the reason. She was special because I took care of her for a couple of days. Everything was, you know, it was hard, everything she was going through, and it was sad to see her going through so much stuff. And yes, she has kids, and it makes me sad for the kids, but it makes me sad to see her as my patient suffering. So everything from the get-go was very, like, there was one of them which she wouldn't even say nothing. She would be like, oh, that's nice, or that's good. And I was like, please be my savior, because these two are just like, ugh. And then 2 weeks later, they sent me an email and said I wasn't the candidate for them. My third interview here at this hospital in my current job that I just got, they did the interview. I went in early, like in all of the other interviews. I went in early, and it was a guy, which was the director, a manager, and a staff nurse. The one, like the main charge nurse. So it was kind of the same scenario. This interview was about 30 minutes. They had the same layout. They had a question, I answered, they kept going. They had a question, I answered, they kept going. They would make a comment here and there, but never offensive. Like, oh yeah, I understand. Or yeah, sometimes that happens. They did ask, like, what is something you feel like it's vital for a unit? And I was like, teamwork. If you don't have teamwork is kind of like the dream work. If you don't have it, it's not possible. You have to be able to work in a good way with everyone in your unit. You have to make sure you're helpful and everyone's helpful to you. It's about teamwork, so you can provide the best patient care. And they were like, yes, we have so many people that have come here and said about teamwork. You know, like, it was kind of like a conversation, but an interview, and everything was really nice. And I never felt attacked. I never felt like they were offending me in any way. I never felt like they were making my answers turn into into a way that, they weren't benefiting me. And I got the job. So the difference is you can feel as soon as you walk in the type of people you're going to work with. So at the same time, I was really sad that I was not able to get that second job, but it was just not for me. It was not meant for me. So I ended up not getting that job, obviously, the second interview one that I told you about. And I was really, really sad. I was wanting to work there because I had friends that worked there, and I felt like it was a great learning opportunity, but it was just not for me. And from the beginning, I knew it. Second indicator that you might get the job is the first one is the atmosphere, making sure you're comfortable with the people that are interviewing you. If you don't feel attacked, or if you don't feel like she doesn't know, if you just feel kind of like they are welcoming towards you, that's a good indicator. Second indicator is them giving you a tour of the unit. I had a tour on my first interview and on my third one, but not on the second one. They didn't even bother to show me the unit. First and third, they showed me the unit, introduced me to some staff. Great indicator. And then third indicator is the way they say bye to you with a firm handshake and say, you'll hear from us from a week or two. That's a good indicator, because in my second interview, she was like, oh, you'll hear from us. Like, what the hell? At least be professional about it. Some of the tips I can give you for your interview is be on time. Never be late. It's always better to be on time. At least 15 minutes early, or 30. If it's a big hospital, you want to be there at least 30 minutes early in case you get lost. At least 15 minutes early by the time you're at the office, request or letting them know you have an interview. Be professional. Like, your attire should be professional 100%. Don't overdo your makeup. The cleavage has to be covered. You can use a dress or a skirt, but I definitely suggest like just some black pants. Your shirt, don't make it appropriate. Don't show too much cleavage. Your hair shouldn't be like all over your face. It should be clean. Make it pretty. I had curly hair, but I did put like a little pin behind so the hair wouldn't be on my face. Groom your nails, because they'll be noticed, especially if you're gonna get nervous or something and you cross your hands like this or whatnot. They're gonna notice how your nails are. Make sure your nails are clean. Don't use acrylic nails, because you're going for a nursing interview, so that's a must. You have to have clean nails. Minimize your jewelry. Don't overdo it. And have copies of your resume. It's very important to have copies of your resume to hand them out. They should have the one you send them, but it's really important to just look professional. Don't bring them in your purse. Like, have a little folder that you can bring them, and just try to act as normal and as comfortable as possible. If you feel like something's going wrong, or you don't know the answer of something, just be like, I'm so sorry, give me a minute, I'm very nervous, it's my first nursing interview, or I haven't had an interview in a long time, so I'm not very comfortable. So those are some tips for your interview day. Those are some of the examples I can tell you, and a few indicators that you might get the job. It's just, you might. There's a lot of competition in nursing. I know there's a lot of nursing jobs out there, but the competition is huge. Like, you wouldn't even believe it. It's really, really big. So you have to be prepared, and you have to sell yourself out. If they're like, you need to work weekends, and you know it, you'd be like, oh yes, I'll be working weekends. Some people are like, oh, I can't work this day. If you don't sell yourself in your interview, you won't get it. You can deal with scheduling later on. So, just a heads up, sell yourself as best as possible. You are kind of the best tomato in the grocery store. They have a bunch to pick up from, but you have to outshine yourself and make sure you're really the nicest, most fit candidate for that position. I wish you all good luck on the future interviews you might have as a nurse or as any other professional in the industry. I wish you all the very best, and I hope you get the job you're dreaming of. Alrighty guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.